Oh yes, legends. It is Sunday. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Let's analyze the situation all together for the price of Bitcoin. See what's going on. I'm actually feeling a little bit bullish, guys. I'm actually feeling a little bit bullish. I'll explain that in today's live stream. However, we are still downtrending on the higher time frames, right? We are still in that major downtrend. And I got a few things ready for you, okay? We'll be going into the 15-minute time frame. It was very, very messy here throughout the last few days, right? Ending at the Thursday, Friday price action. Very, very choppy. Not interested if we lost this level over here, which we did. However, we'll be analyzing this movement to the downside. Not looking too promising for the bears, I have to say. And it does look quite good for a corrective structure. Meaning that if it is going to be corrective, if it does look corrective, potentially we have a movement up to $94,000 in the next coming days, guys. So we'll be breaking down a little bit what's going on in here. Of course, there is that chance for the impulse. If we do claim the lows, we'll be breaking down the most important levels of support, of resistance, the liquidity that we have above $94,000, which is quite a lot, guys. There is quite a lot of liquidity up there, which is looking very, very interesting. So let's say hello to the beautiful community. I hope you had a fantastic weekend, guys. Make sure to get your cup of tea, cup of coffee, your beer, your water, whatever you want. I've got my cup of tea, like a good old British guy. And we're going to go through the comment section, say hello to the beautiful community, and we'll break down, okay, what I'm interested here for the week, guys. What I'm interested to look for in the week. And I am pretty confident that this movement down doesn't look too aggressive. It doesn't look too aggressive. We have this movement to the downside, which is this three-wave structure for the moment, right? Because with the new information that we have got, we had this pivot low, this pivot lower high right there, and then this pretty aggressive move with high volume. That's the information that I want to see, right? We got the movement down here after all of this noise. It was very, very noisy. We need more information on the chart. We've got more information, and now we can actually get some predictions going on, right? Now we can get some predictions, because one thing I have clear is that this movement to the upside is impulsive. That is something that I can put my hand in the fire and I won't get burnt, right? If I'm promising that this movement to the upside, right? No promises here, no financial advice. I'm just a guy on YouTube, okay? Nothing shall be taken as financial advice, even though I feel confident about something. Take it with a pinch of salt, guys. All right. First of all, muy importante, super important, guys. I need to remember this all the time. I keep forgetting, but you guys know it's just here for YouTube, right? Just we want to keep the viewers protected, okay? It's only my opinion, my technical analysis, right? And I'm just giving my information. And no matter how confident I am on something, take it always with a pinch of salt and manage risk as always. Let's go right away through this movement, right? Because yeah, on the 4-hourly time frame, we are downtrending, right? There's no doubt about it, right? Downtrending on the 4-hourly, the daily, right? From all-time high. Trying to predict that reversal. It is true that next week coming, we do have a very, very interesting week with interest rate decision from economic projections, press conference, JOLTS jobs on Tuesday. We have a packed week, guys. Thursday, PPI. There is going to be some volatility. There's going to be some directions for the price of Bitcoin. Eventually, what we need to understand on higher time frame. On the weekly, we're still bullish. We're still uptrending. On the daily 4-hourly time frame, if you wish, we are downtrending. And throughout the 1 hour, 15-minute, right, we are basically uptrending from that low that we have on the 21st of November. So it is crucial, this movement, how we have developed it, right? How will we develop this movement? And of course, the most bearish case scenario is just, guys, forget about it. It's a three-wave structure, right? Anyone that is feeling bullish, we're in a bear market already. Any reversal, I mean, we are looking for, intraday setups that could be a little swing trade that could last a few days, maybe up to a week or so, right? That's the average when we look for trading setups. And you know, you could just arguably discuss that we're in a bear market, guys. That's it. Forget about it. You know, this is just another 3-wave move to the upside in this downtrend. Come on, you can see it with your own eyes. You know, why be bullish here? Why be bullish? You know, can we form a higher low in this region? I do think that we can. Of course, that bounce is going to be very important to analyze in the next few days. Because, you know, there is a good chance that we are going to get some kind of a reversal bounce just because of the information that we got in the last few days right over here, which is, this was very messy, very choppy. You know, for me, it was not a zone that I was interested in doing anything, okay? Because I'm aware of a 5-wave move to be finished. Could you have another extended 4th wave a little bit here and get one more high? I was more interested in shorts at higher levels. Interested in a long position here. We did get a little reaction on that pivot level that we mentioned on Friday. Got a little bounce of out of $1,000 and then came straight back down. And this is another zone that, yeah, you know, I'm not that interested. But there are some movements that I do think that are going to happen locally here that I would be very, very interested, okay, to get into a position, which are going to be explained in today's live stream, guys, okay? So make sure to bear with me here because we're going to bring some scenarios, okay, in the next coming minutes, okay? Bear with me here today. Let's say hello to the beautiful community, okay? Get you a cup of tea, cup of coffee, whatever you want. My like was number 1. Okay, absolute legend here. Pito, hola Fry, without greeting, it doesn't count. Much love to you, my man. What's up, Mohammed? How are you doing? Much love to you. Daniel Singleton, afternoon. Are you gowns to clinging on hopium? We're going to see. We're going to see. Andy, give us some candy. Joe, much love. Path Maria, happy Sunday. Much love to you. Also, Umay, modesty. Where are we heading? Please analyze AVAX for us. We can take a look at some altcoins later on, guys. Bear with me. Hello, Chartist. Have a great Sunday. Rudy, much love to you, my man. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great weekend. Toddy, hello. Simple Jack, hi Andy and all. James, all right. Afternoon, dude. How are you doing? Crypto by Mattia, guys. If you don't know who this guy is, make sure to go and check him out. Okay. Thank you for the financial advice. No financial advice here, okay? Make sure and go and check out Crypto by Mattia, guys. He's absolutely awesome. Got great content every single day. Happy Sunday, Diesel EGG. Let's go right away through the price of Bitcoin, okay? Higher time frame, not much that we need to discuss. Not much that we need to discuss. You know, our question right now, my question right now is, you know, the downtrend, right? This downtrend right over here. Do we get multiple 4-5s on the formation? You know, do we just get a larger 4th wave, one more leg down? You know, the trend is very much to the downside. Is this the wave 4? We got another wave 5. It turns out to be an ABC. What is more interesting to execute the trades is internally here on the 1 hour, 15-minute time frame. Okay, because there is that bullish case scenario, which is not the greatest, I have to say, right? Because we got a long sideways move. We got a very impulsive move from all-time high, sideways momentum here, and then another pretty strong impulsive move in this zone in the last few weeks here in November. 3-way structure, yeah, I mean, I would be happy to say maybe it has the potential, but it all has to do with this movement. And so far, this movement, oh my goodness, you know, it's ending up with a 3-wave structure. So, yeah, I mean, the bulls, they literally need to hold above 83.5K. I'm going to say that there is a chance. There is a chance, all right, to hold above $84,000, which is the low of last week right here on Monday. Well, this week on Monday, sorry, my bad. It is Sunday, so the week hasn't finished. There is a chance, guys. There is a chance. However, you're betting against the major 4-hourly downtrend in a 3-wave structure. And, whew, you know, to speculate on a higher low here, you need to have the guts, right? You need to have the guts to say, all right, I'm going bullish, but let's talk about that because, I mean, there is a possibility. If we do claim the low, it's all going to be, all the information is on the bounce, okay? We'll be breaking that down now in the next coming minutes, okay? Bear with me here. 1 hourly time frame, right? What are the scenarios? we'll go through the meat and potatoes right now, which is the 15-minute, okay? Analyzing this movement down, which is the most important move to take decisions. It's the most important move to take decisions here and understand what happens next. You know, do we, you know, continue to the downside to get below $80,000? Or do we correct here? Is this a correction? Is it still on the formation of a correction? And then we move to take out $84,000, $94,000, my goodness. So yeah, we don't need much more information here to start taking some decisions. All right, whoever shorted in this range, very good indeed. Okay, very good. I missed out, guys. I missed out. I did long, I did short throughout the previous weeks here in November, but this movement to the downside, I missed it. Right, we can't get into every single trade. Just wasn't confident, wasn't seeing anything clear with this mess. So I just took it, took a day off, took a couple of days off of trading. Okay, most important thing for me and for everybody must be protecting capital as well, right? Protecting your capital. If you don't know what's going on and you're not confident in taking a trade that has high probability, you might as well not take it, right? Why take something that you're not too sure about? So I did take a couple of days off here with this movement to the downside. No longs, no shorts, no nothing. So, but now, you know, we continued the momentum to the downside and it's going to be looking muy interesante. Very, very interesting scenarios. Let's talk about finished ABC, right? You know, it is clear, especially with this latest move to the upside, that you have a 5-wave move. Okay, so no need to count this 3-wave, you know, 5-wave also here. The most important thing is this movement up, right? So you could have a ABC movement here. C-wave finished in a 5-waver on the higher time frame, and this is just forming an impulsive move down. You can get correction and then nuke down here in a 3rd wave, potentially by, you know, this week coming, right? Something that we need to understand. We'll break down the Elliott wave scenarios here, okay, on the 15-minute. Don't worry about that. Now it's just a little bit of Picasso drawing. There's just not much to go into detail about. 3-wave up. You know, we're looking for more downside here. It's very much a possibility, okay? Another scenario eventually is this one right over here, where you form a B wave in this zone, right, where you have a zigzag move to the upside, zigzag down in a wave X, and then you have another zigzag to the upside in a double zigzag WXY. However, the problem with this that has a little bit of lower probability, purely based on the wave X, if your wave X after a zigzag does come down below the golden pocket, it decreases the probability that your wave Y is going to be a zigzag also to the upside. Okay, most commonly your wave X gets to the 382, 50% Fibonacci in a double zigzag, and it doesn't come all the way down below the golden pocket, which is, you know, something that impacts the probabilities, right? Nothing more. So that is kind of low probability, this scenario. So we're not taking it too much into consideration. However, there is a bullish scenario, which is multiple 1-2s eventually, and you end up breaking up in a wave 3 in the next coming days, where you've moved here, wave 1, wave 2, another wave 1, because you've got a clear 5-wave structure to the upside. Do we see a corrective momentum here that's been developed since the range here from Wednesday, Thursday, and we end up moving to the upside? What I do like about this, it's important obviously to form a higher low from $84,000. That's your invalidation, you know, for the double 1-2. Eventually you need a higher low in this region, and there's a lot of support. Got a few naked point of controls from this range. This area is a bit risky because there's a lot of inefficiency right there, right? Fair value gap. There's, you know, we are holding a little bit here in this range, which is making it very interesting, okay, for the movement here that could happen in the next coming days. So this scenario and this scenario they do mimic, right? You could have a corrective structure still in a zigzag up, zigzag down wave X, and another zigzag up, and it still is a corrective structure. And then the bullish case scenario is the multiple 1-2, right? it's kind of mimicking the bullish case, the corrective one. So that is something interesting about, taking into consideration that there's two scenarios that actually form a higher low in this region, right? And gets a movement to the upside to take out $94,000. That is something interesting. There's two scenarios that gives that possibility, regardless if it's going to be bearish later or actually bullish, and you break out to get to, $100,000 plus potentially in that wave 3. So that's our mission right now. Our mission is to identify this movement, right? This movement, is it looking promising as a bearish impulse? Or can we get a corrective pattern in this zone, which there are very few options, guys, for this to be corrective. And the problem right now for the bearish case is, this movement has extended a little bit. It's still in the timing of a possible wave 4, I have to say. The main reason why, we're going to dive in right away on the 15-minute, okay? So got a few scenarios. Now is where we get to the 15-minute time frame. Obviously, we're going to get those levels of confluence, right, which are very, very important that we take into consideration, all right, as we do the analysis on the 15-minute time frame to get, that trading plan that I'm going to be transparent about, the trade that I'm looking to execute. I don't know, maybe tonight, maybe, tomorrow, but I am very, very much interested in executing a trade based on the analysis that I have for you on the 15-minute time frame. Nothing to discuss more on the 1 hourly. We got several scenarios. You got this larger double zigzag WXY that's forming a higher low in this region and takes out $94,000. The bullish case, multiple 1-2, and then you have, also this one, which I'm not going to give priority to, because your Y wave, it's a flat here in your Y wave. It's a little bit too large. You got zigzag up, triangle in X, and a large flat, a bit too long here for this flat. But that would mean that the high is in, right? If this is a WXY, the high is in just the same as this, possibly this ABC movement to the upside, right? Same scenario. So moving down at the moment, looks like we are heading to take out that low at 88,100, and we're going to have some more information based on that movement to the downside. Okay, bear with me. There are a few plans here, guys, and obviously, I'm not scared about this drop. I'm actually pretty interested in longing in this area, guys. I will explain it right away, and we might get even a live long trade here. And it's probably going to take a couple of days. Might take, between Monday and Tuesday to get that bounce. But the bounce here by taking out this low, for me, is going to be taking out the highs of the weekend, which is at $90,000. So, I mean, it's still a nice, potentially $3,000 move, maybe even more if you do get a little bit of more downside. But I am looking for a possible bounce here, and that's going to be breaking down on the 15-minute time frame. It's about time. Enough nonsense of the higher time frame. Tell me what's going on, up or down, right? Where are the trade setups? Give me the trades now. We'll be going through that right away. Smash up the like button for this Sunday stream, guys. Let's do a like button recount. Make sure to leave your comments later on the stream. Once the stream is finished, make sure to leave the comments down below. All right, in the comment section. BTC bull up to 2026. 4-year cycle is broken. We do have quantitative tightening finishing and quantitative easing very aggressively in 2026. Right, there's a lot of speculation on that. Big players, big voices are saying that 2026 there's going to be quantitative easing, right? And there's going to be inflation, and things are going to go back up in value very aggressively in 2026. Well, I mean, that's obviously very, very speculative to look out, in the horizon for 2026. Nobody knows if a bomb's going to, fall on top of our head tomorrow, right? So, predicting what's going to happen in 2026 is a little bit too far off, right? When you take a look at the economic data. Bull run is over 100, says Diamond. Andy Legends, please, AVAX. Yeah, we're going to take a look at AVAX right away. Let's go through Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's getting a nice little drop right now. I mainly trade Bitcoin, so I'm interested in Bitcoin trading mainly. Okay, 37 days in the bear market so far. Yeah, you would arguably discuss. Hi Andy, I have been tuning into your channel recently and I have been considering learning trading. What would you suggest be on some key concepts to learn Elliott wave theory? I mean, there's many websites online. You know, I do have some courses as well. If you go down to the Legends community and website, you know, there's a lot of information out there. Elliott Wave Principle is a very good book to read about Elliott Wave theory. Why are my comments hidden? I have no idea. Anyway, enough is enough. I'll go through the comment section later on. We are getting this dump on Bitcoin, and I have to say, dumpy, let's go. Let's do let's do a like recount, guys. We're over 300 people watching, and we only got 75 likes. Get that dumpy action down here. Swing failure pattern, a little bit aggressive, if you ask me, but where it's going to be becoming interesting here is slightly lower. Slightly lower would be the main interest zone for me, where we do have a few naked point of controls. We can analyze this movement to the downside. We've just taken out this low. Do we have here a bearish move to the downside? Is it an impulse? Well, what we can clearly see from those highs that we had on the 4th of December, what we do have is, I'm going to consider this pivot the wave, right? We had a lot of overlap, a lot of noise. It could be multiple 1-2s. There is some kind of a diagonal in this structure as well, that could have a multiple 1-2 setup. Okay, and then the third wave down, fourth wave. Now we are forming this. Okay, there's a clear zigzag move to the upside. This is something that it was very clear, guys, that we had a 3-wave structure on this movement to the upside. Bit of an SFP. I would say that this is a bit aggressive. It would be an aggressive. You've got high volume here on the movement to the downside, and also we do have 1-2. You know, I would consider this a bit of a third wave formation. Okay, a high volume coming into the low. I would treat this as an aggressive long SFP, getting the lows from Friday. I do think I would be more happy for a little bit more downside, if I'm honest with you here. Okay, no, I'm not taking this long position at the moment. Not the best double bottom. Okay, if it were to be from this pivot, for example, boom, boom, bang, bang, and then bang, right? And you got a 5-waver, and that 5th wave comes into the low. Then I would say, I mean, I like this double bottom. I like this SFP double bottom scenario if we had a clear 5-wave move to the downside from this pivot high. However, you know, for the moment, it's 1-2. You got possibly another 1-2 here. High volume on the movement down. So what would happen most commonly is that you get that choppiness here to the downside to form a couple of 4-5s, just because you have potentially 2 1-2s here in this zone. So not interested here personally for me on this double bottom. Okay, what I want to see is a little bit of exhaustion here and a bit of more momentum to the downside, just because we got the highest amount of volume kicking in right now from the last few days. And you know, I never like the highest amount of volume here, because highest amount of volume, you always want to treat it as a potential wave 3, and you need more information eventually, right? Little bounce, then another low, little bounce and another low. That's where it becomes interesting to say, okay, we got the highest amount of volume that's been here on this drop, and then we get that choppiness, right, to finish the 5-wave move to the upside. That's where we are interested in longing into support zones. Okay, so it's a matter of being a little bit patient. Something that would look pretty okay is that if you do get this bounce from here out of nowhere and you get a rally throughout the next coming hours, then eventually, you know, almost coming up to these highs, that would be actually a pretty nice bullish sign, in my opinion, at least locally, to get another rally to the upside. But yeah, movement down. Not interested in catching this movement as a long. Okay, we're moving down. This movement has been corrective, very likely, you know, 3-wave structure. We got this movement down. We got another small movement down throughout Sunday, and now we're getting the volume kicking in. So what is most common, all right, to see when you get volume kicking in here is to get dead cat bounces, claim the low again, right, and then just slow down into this region, right, after getting that high volume move to the downside. So I would say that this zone, if we were to come down here throughout the next coming, you know, hours, it's going to be looking interesting to start looking for longs for that reversal. You know, I do think that claiming these highs of the weekend at 90,200 is a very, very good chance in this zone. Okay, I think we do have a very, very good chance that we do maintain support in this zone, which is going to be explained right away. And we do get some kind of a bounce, and obviously those bounces, regardless if this is going to be a 5-wave move to the downside, or a part of a corrective structure, much larger correction, which we're going to break down right away. Let's go with the bearish case. Okay, let's just go with the bearish case scenario first of all, and treat this movement down as an impulse. If we are going to treat this movement down as an impulse, we need to go from the ultimate highs right over here at $94,000, and you can see you got a bit of a grinding structure to the downside. All right, you can fit in here a contracting diagonal. We got a 1 2 1 2, okay, and you got a couple of 1 2s. I would say you do have easily a few 1 2s here on the formation to the downside, even though I don't like this one too much. It's a little bit long, but overall, if not, we treat this as a complete movement to the downside, and then this bounce. There's a clear 3-wave structure here. This is the movement that I'm interested in, because it has the increasing volume, right, from this lower high at $92,700. This movement to the downside is where you have the biggest move and the highest amount of volume when you consider all of this, right? Getting out the noise of all of this overlap, right? That's when you start getting the big push down that happened on Friday evening. Then you got this bounce, 3-wave structure, and then you got this momentum to the downside. So now is what we can fit in, highest amount of volume. We are labeling this as a wave 3, 3-wave structure to the upside, 1 2 1 2 3, continues moving down, and that's the moment we want to start seeing a stop in this region, okay, at $87,000 to $85,000. This is the zone where I want to see that little bit of exhaustion, and we can start looking for a aggressive reversal. Okay, that's the bullish case, right? Well, it is bearish because you're moving down in an impulse, but obviously you're looking for some kind of a bounce, and most commonly, it is very, very common to get above the 4th wave, which is at $90,200, the highs of the weekend. Nice little move of $3,000, maybe $4,000. So I'm gonna wait patiently here. There's no rush, guys. I'm a professional in missing trades, right? If you do get the bounce from here, I have to say, I'm just not interested. I'm interested in seeing a bit of exhaustion coming into levels of support, right? Which is the, few naked point of controls, one at 86.9K, one at 86K. So we're just going to wait a little bit patiently here. Ultimately, if we want to see this as in the bullish case scenario as a wave 2 formation here, I have to say, golden pocket, 7-8 golden pocket has been hit, just about to be hit right now. 7-8 is like the ultimate zone for a wave 2. Preferably you don't get down as low as the 0.88 Fibonacci. That's a bit too deep. So when we consider Fibonacci and confluence, right, for a wave 2, this could also be a zigzag, right? We're going to break down the bullish case scenario, of course, but golden pocket to the 7-8 Fibonacci with some pointer controls from this region that we had this week, Monday and Tuesday, is the zone where I would speculate that we're likely going to get some kind of a bounce between 86K and 87K. Okay, this is the zone where I would speculate that we're likely going to get some reversal. Okay, and it all has to do from the movement down that we got from highs. This is the beauty about knowing Elliott wave theory and coming into support. When you do have a lot of noise and it's not too clear, like we did on the live stream between Thursday and also Friday, a lot of too much noise in this region. Aware of the drop, aware of the bounce. Let's get more information. If we pump, I'm interested in shorts. If we dump down in this region, I would be interested in longs based on the information that we have on the chart. So far, we got the movement, you know, we're just scaling, grinding to here to the downside. So on the bullish, on the local bounce, when we do take a look, you know, taking the noise out from here, taking the noise out, if we are developing an impulsive move, all right, because there is a correction, there is a corrective move as well that we need to discuss that might take a few more days to develop, at least 24 hours maybe, you know, we'll break that down. But the bearish case, just because we have the highest amount of volume in this movement down from Friday, we need to obviously give the chance for this to be a wave 3, right? You always give priority to that scenario, all right? The bullish case scenario would be an ABC, and then, you know, an ABC gives you an option to extend a corrective move, right, in a WXY, which we're going to break down now in the next coming minutes. But for this, right, you would be looking for a bounce to the upside, right, to claim though that $90,300, which is the most common area after a 5-wave move to the downside, to at least, you know, get to the 382 Fibonacci, get above the 4th wave. That is, it's round about that zone. Okay, $90,200 would be the area where you most commonly get that bounce. Okay, understanding the waves and the scenarios here. So that's one scenario. Regardless, you know, with this movement to the downside, there is high probability. Okay, it's all about probabilities, guys. And you know, it's all about taking action, managing risk, and understanding that what with the information that we have on the chart, regardless if it is going to be bearish, right, and we do end up reversing here, form a corrective structure, and then nuke down, right, throughout coming into this week, to the downside to, you know, tackle $80,000, right, potentially break it or not, we'll have to see, but that's the main target, coming down to the lows, okay, at $80,000. You are looking for a reversal bounce based on the information that we have here from the highs that we had here on Thursday at $94,000, right? With the information that we have, a little bit of clear, zooming out, not too much noise on the waves, right? Highest amount of volume, okay, tick, 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 right? Bounce, pretty long. That's what you want to see in a wave 4. Then you have the latest move down in your wave 5. You know, which is highly likely looking for a reversal bounce, regardless if it's going to be bullish or not. That we're going to have to obviously analyze that scenario, right? And that's where you take action. You take action at levels of support and understanding the probabilities of a potential bounce in this region based on the waves, right? So not the same as this one. This was on Monday. On Monday, we did talk about getting a bounce here to sweep up these highs and maybe going to higher levels. You know, the option of leaving a trade open from this zone was there. And it all had to do with the aggressive move down here with high volume and getting this choppiness. The probabilities of breaking down here were very, very low. Okay, it's understanding the probabilities of nuking down from this choppiness is low probability, and double bottoms locally, reclaim, understanding that, you know, this price action was interesting for longs, okay, at the lows here. Of course, we did talk about a potential short in this region, but also managing risk because of the fair value gap. You don't want to get into a short if you lose that last, you know, first lower high from this movement down, and this fair value gap, guys. You don't want, you know, we explained that, right? No shorts to be taken anywhere in this region with this candlestick, right? If you are going to take one, it's going to be on a rejection from these highs, which did not happen. So right now on the information that we have in the last few days, you know, for me it's pretty interesting to understand the momentum to the downside. That, you know, a reversal bounce from this zone is highly likely. Okay, highly likely, purely based on the information that we got here, right? High volume, decreasing volume on this movement down, taking out the lows, which is pointing out for that high probability bounce, okay, in this region. On the, you know, perfect world, right, which we do not live in, Sometimes we do get some perfect scenarios, not always, but in the perfect scenario, because you have the highest amount of volume in this region right there, from this movement down, from this 3-wave move to the upside, you know, what you want to see here is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, dead cat bounce, probably claim the low again, boom, boom, boom. You get that choppiness into levels of support. And that's when you realize, when you zoom in out, that there's decreasing volume. The biggest move happened between Thursday and Friday. And obviously, going with the Elliott wave counts, you are looking for that 5th wave to end here in this zone where you have good support zones, right? So, you know, looking at the probabilities here, the probabilities of nuking down, right? Doesn't mean that we cannot hit, you know, 86K, right? Go a little bit lower. It doesn't mean that we cannot do that. But what this is telling me on the chart is that the probabilities of moving down to $84,000, right? Moving down very aggressively from this point, okay, is low probability to move down very aggressively. And that you have a very good chance that this area is going to hold as support, and a bounce has higher probability to get above $90,200, right? If you put a gun on my head and you ask me, you know, where do we go next from this zone? Do we break down or do we get a bounce to get above 90,200? You know, I'm going to go with this option. I'm going to go with this option right over here instead of this one. So, and it's understanding how we got down here. How did we get down here from this pivot? So that's, you know, obviously we would have to find support, get a bit of choppiness. If you do get that, you know, still continue the momentum to the downside. It's very much still an option just because we have high volume on the movement down. Then there's there's other scenarios, which is eventually bullish, where we got some bullish scenarios. Do we have corrective options in this movement down to label this as a wave 1, right? You got your first wave 1 with this movement, and the speculation of a 1, 2, 1, 2. Is it valid still? Is it valid? Or because we have an impulsive move to the downside, you know, that's it, it's game over, right? This is like your 3-wave move up on the higher time frame, ABC, C wave in a 5-wave structure, crystal clear. It's like, come on, man. You know, it seems pretty bold, right, to look for this to be a corrective move. You know, why would you talk about this? Is it possible that we form a double 1, 2? You know, come on, we got a 3-wave move up, and we got a, you know, it does look a bit more clear right now that this is a 5-waver to the downside. So it's like, oh, come on, the probabilities are leaning, you know, they, by the looks of things, we're going to roll over, right, in the next coming days, even though we do get that bounce, right? You know, you're looking for a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. Come on, that's it, right? We're coming down, you know, forget about it. Bear market. Forget about the bounce to get above $94,000, right? Well, no, of course not. We don't need to forget about it. You know, there's obviously those options. You know, this is the surprise pump, right? I would say that this is the classic surprise pump, because there's going to be a lot of eyes right now that is looking at this structure to the downside on the higher time frame. They're going to see this 3-wave move up, and it's like, come on, you know, forget about it. You know, it just looks like we're going to roll over. And this is the classic zone where you suddenly continue the local uptrend, right? And you just take out $94,000, and then, you know, is this the moment to be bullish? Right? You know, when people say you need to break this level or you need to get to higher levels, but then you're kind of late, right? Then you're late to get into the long position if you're already pumping at $95,000. I would be more interested in analyzing this zone to maybe get into a short. So this is why, you know, the movements down, you want to identify them as a corrective structure, which, you know, is we don't have that. I have to say, we don't have that just as of yet. But, you know, we could maybe have one But for the moment, we don't, right? For the moment, we do not. What would be ideal here? What would be ideal here? Yeah, as mentioned, you know, I think, you know, the bounce in this region is very, very, you know, it's high probability regardless if it's going to be bearish. Regardless if it's going to be bearish, we do have a very, very good chance of bouncing in this region, and very, very likely to get 90,200. Okay. Hey, thanks for the super chat, my man. You did not leave. You didn't leave a comment. You probably forgot. I'll make sure to try and find it right away. Okay. But overall, remain patient. We just got that movement down. I'm not a fan of this double bottom. I'm not a fan of this double bottom. As mentioned, I would really speculate that, you know, that there is a good chance that we just grind to the downside and claim the low again. Okay. And the whole reason is regardless if we get a bounce or not, I don't care about that. You know, the main reason that I see this as a risky double bottom is because how we got down here from this pivot, guys, right? How did we get down here? Do we have a clear 5-wave down, which I would be interested in that double bottom to get the bounce if we would have formed a 5-waver. But if you ask me, it's a bit 3-wavy to the downside, and eventually I'm not going to speculate on an ABC flat here, right, where you got a zigzag up, A wave, zigzag down, B wave, you know, 5-wave up, and you form a flat. That would be looking interesting for the bullish case. But, you know, I'm not here to speculate on a B wave, right? B waves are so unpredictable, right? Will it be a flat or not? I just don't want to do that, because I know, you know, there's several options here, and I'm not interested. So if we were to get that movement up, that's when the bullish case becomes interesting to maybe have a chance to take out $94,000 plus if you were to get a 5-wave move to the upside here. Because, right, the option is 5-wave up, 3-wave down, 5-wave up, and you just form a regular ABC, and that's your wave 1 right over here. That's your wave 2, and then you roll back down. But the other bullish option, right, is forming a flat here, rally, and then you kind of nuke down very aggressively, bounce, and another move to the downside. And you might think, what the heck is this? You know, stop it with this nonsense. It's forming a double zigzag to the downside, because we have, from the highs of last Thursday, we have the movement down, the bounce, okay, and then the big move down here with high volume. If we want to consider that this is a bullish move, so we can have a higher low in this region and get a massive rally in the next coming days, we need to have some kind of a correction, right, which we don't have completed at the moment, unfortunately, because yes, you have a zigzag down here. Now you have, I mean, I would say, you know, it's not too bad, not too shabby here to start looking for some aggressive longs, guys. I mean, manage risk, because you got two options here. Regardless if it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you get the bounce, or if it's going to be an ABC flat, and then you might get a zigzag down. You got zigzag down here, flat, and a zigzag down, and then we rally in the next coming days. I have to say, you know, regardless of what happens, if it is bearish, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, bounce, okay, corrective structure, and you nuke down later on, or if it's going to be a flat zigzag down and then you get the rally, right, you maintain this zone where you have point of controls as support. But yeah, it is a zone to start taking action, no doubt. So Yeah, different. You know, if you ask me about the double 1-2, right? Because it's interesting. You know, we are bearish. I've been a bit of a bear, guys, for the last few weeks. I have been a bit of a, well, last couple of months, really. Been a bit of a bear in, you know, more in this area, more throughout this momentum. More throughout this momentum. You know, I was bearish here with this bounce, looking for lower. And higher time frame is still bearish, I have to say. But we need to give the reversal a chance. We need to give a reversal a chance, guys, with this information that we have on the chart, right? I just need to give it a chance. And we are very, very close to getting complete information here. But we need a little bit of more momentum, a little bit more information to say, right, we got it. It's bullish, right? And eventually, you know, what we would be looking at for this to be corrective, because right now you would give priority to the bears, right? Keeping it simple. Come on, you know, open your eyes. You know, stop trying to find a bullish case scenario when it's clearly bearish. The downtrend is, you know, pretty much intact. You got a 3-wave move up. Come on, 3-wave move up. It's a little bit of hopium right now to believe that a higher low here from this pivot, and it has to form a higher low for the bullish case, because if you take out this low, I can already tell you that the probabilities are, you know, just very, very high that you're going to come down to get $80,000. Because if this has to be bullish, bear with me here, if this movement has to be bullish and you're looking for an ABC flat, guess what? Your B wave, man, this does not look like a 3-wave structure. If this is going to be an A wave here, a B wave, and now you're looking for the C wave, right? You claim this low and then you get a rally. I'm not counting on this for sure on the higher time frame, because your B wave is clearly an impulse. I mean, I wouldn't give this any probability at all. I would say if you claim this level, it's just a matter of time that you're going to claim this one, because, you know, there's no solid way of counting this an ABC flat, because your B wave is an impulse. You know, just to have at the back of your mind, right? If you claim this low, I'm saying that, you know, based on the probabilities, that this is not an ABC flat because of your B wave. That's it. However, if we yeah, so, I mean, this is why if this is going to be bullish, to not claim $80,000, the price, you know, needs to hold in this region. You know, you need to form a higher low. It needs to form a higher low in this region if you're considering the multiple 1-2. Because claiming this low, a flat, you know, just that's it, right? You know, it's likely going to claim below $80,000 if you claim 84. So this is where, you know, the speculative options come into place. You know, but I have to say, still not enough information for the bullish case, and I would have to give priority to the bears, which is in a, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And probably not finish the 5th wave right now, because, you know, it's simple as understanding that we've only got a 3-wave move to the downside. So, you know, I would say 4, 5, 4, 5 here on the bearish case, because you have 1, 2, 1, 2, and then the big volume coming in here in the last few hours. So a little bit of choppiness down into support, where we have, you know, point of control, and we got a daily level as well. Nice daily level at 86.3k. Point of control daily level. This is the zone of proper support that we do have, to then get that nice relief bounce. This would be the ideal zone here. A little bit too soon, a little bit too risky. Just understanding that you could have a little bit of choppiness here in 4-5s throughout the next coming hours, just so you understand that. You know, it is a little bit of a risky action here to take that long at the moment, even though the probabilities are high for that bounce. You just need to understand that a little bit of choppiness down to, you know, the low 86k levels is very much an option right now throughout the next coming hours. This is why, you know, the best option is for that long position, at least for me, guys, right? When I'm looking for a good setup, if we get that choppiness, just like we did right over here, that's the moment we said on Monday, guys, look for the double bottom, look for the reclaim of the low, and then if it does take the low again, look for it again, because you're likely going to get that rally. You're likely going to get that rally that sweeps up the lower highs, which it did the next day, right? So whoever catch that double bottom, made a good decision at the end of the day, right? Took advantage of that long. We did say that it's time to take some profits here throughout the end of the week, just a few days ago. If you did long anywhere in this region, guys, I would treat this as take most of the profits, if not all of it, because on the higher time frame we do have that ABC possibility, right? And you moved clearly in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you want to take your profits at the fifth wave, right? You want to try and be inside of the third wave already. And, looking for longs up here, it's like local scalps to take the highs, nothing else. There's no swing trade eventually to be taken here. You would rather be interested in shorts, as the probability here as well was looking for the rollover, right? So right now the probabilities here, after a bit of choppiness, is looking for that bounce. Don't get me wrong. It is looking for a bounce, based on the information that we have on the chart. For me, there's no doubt that the probabilities right now is not nuking down. It's actually moving down, but with choppiness, and then get the reversal bounce. So that's going to be very interesting now throughout the next coming hours, guys, to see that choppiness and proof of support. And that's what I want to see, right? I understand how the price could move and how to take action based on how the price moves. And I need that price action. Because if you move down right now, little bounce, move down again, and you start getting that, local double bottoms here locally, right? Coming down to 87, it might squeeze down to 86. That's when you realize that you're getting exhausted, right, after a big move down, right? And we consider this on the 15-minute that this has been a big move down, right? So yeah, it's looking for a bounce here, very, very likely. A little bit of more choppiness to the downside would be ideal. And what is most common, if this is going to be a 5-wave move to the downside, it's common to get that bounce, okay, in this region. Guys, I want to let you know, first of all, before we go through the bullish case, okay, which is forming corrective structures, that we need to take action once we do get more information, okay? I want to go through the bullish case, which will be very, very interesting, okay? Will be very, very interesting. I want to break that down in the next coming minutes. Quick comment section go. Staffer One, the man himself, is here. Devils, let's go, my man. Happy Sunday to everyone. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. I did get my cup of tea ready, guys, but man, it's already cold. Cold tea. We are good with that. We are okay with that. Anyway, swing, buy or sell? That's a very good question, my man. You tell me. The probabilities here in getting a bounce is actually quite high, okay? But, you're probably going to get a bit of choppiness. You're probably going to get a little bit of choppiness here. So, just be aware that a bit of choppiness in this range is possible. Either bounces from here or you get that choppiness and then you bounce. The probabilities in nuking down, right? That's what we know with the information that we got on the chart. The probabilities of nuking down here, like capitulating, is low, right? And it's all about that. It's understanding the probabilities of the possible next move. Moving down like this to 84K from where we at right now, probabilities are low. Doesn't mean it's impossible, but it's just unlikely to happen. And if you ask me why, well, it all has to do with this movement to the downside. Highest amount of volume in the middle, the biggest move right over here that we had on Friday. Getting this long bouncy structure on the weekend, then the next move down is very likely going to be your 5th wave. if it is going to be the bearish case, which is looking eventually for that bounce, which is most commonly gets above the fourth wave. Most commonly, it doesn't need to, but it is common to get above the fourth wave, and it is common to get at least above the 382. Do you know, after a wave to the downside, right? When you finish a wave, this is a wave right there, right? When you finish a wave, do you know that over 75% of the times you get at least above the 382 Fibonacci? Over 75% of the times. I think it's about 77, right? Well, this changes up and down, but it is at least above 75% of the times that you do get above the 382 Fibonacci. And if you can detect a possible 5-wave move to the downside, and you understand that this could be coming to its end stages as a, as a wave, as a finished wave, just like here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, end stages, do we take out the high or not here? This was the overall discussion when we were in this range, because it was a bit confusing, very choppy, very overlapping. But, at the end of the day, you understand that, this is coming to the end stages, right? End stages, do we take out the high one more time or not? The reversal was high probability. It's the same, kind of the same scenario here. How long do we chop in this region? How long do we chop, and how many times do we claim the local lows? Once, twice, 3, before we get that reversal bounce. So, and this is basically how you manage your trade. Do you want to get in with 1%? Do you want to wait for the choppiness and try and snipe the double, triple bottom scenario like we mentioned on Monday? I mean, on Monday it was perfect because we already streaming here when we got the bounce and one more low and another bounce. And because of that price action, it was simple to say, guys, as we were streaming, if we claim that local low, guys, look for the double bottom and, look for the sweep of the local highs here, at least to the start of the inefficiency candle, right? The fair value gap. If you break that, then, happy days, right? Happy days. You got a nice pump to the upside. But that is the main question right now. How the choppiness. Are you going to wait for it? Are you going to be patient as a trader? I am. And, if we were to bounce from here, I have to say I will miss this long position. I will miss it. I'm very, very patient. I like to see what I want to see, right? Which is a little bit of that choppiness. And that's all breaking down this movement down, right? Always understanding that you have a 3-wave up, a 3-wave down. Yeah, you could form a flat here, right? And if you do get that choppiness, boom, 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 that's the moment that you can be confident that this is coming to its end stages. And you are looking for local double bottoms, then you get the rally, and then it's happy days, right? So, I mean, on both scenarios, it's either a bit more choppiness, or if it's an ABC flat, regardless, these are the main scenarios that I would be looking at right now where we are currently at. Okay, these are the main scenarios. Let's break down the bullish case. Obviously, that is bearish. You got an impulse. You get the bounce in the next couple of days. It overlaps. Your third wave fails to go to higher levels, breaks down. With this price action, you understand that this is likely a wave 1. This is likely a wave 2, or the development of a wave 2 if it's going to be a more sideways WXY. And then you're just looking for the price to break down eventually, right, in that wave 3. In the next coming days. So we need to give priority to the bears because of the higher time frame. If you ask me, priority is for the bears, right? Even though we're looking for a local bounce, we need to understand that, come on, every move, every bounce has been 3-wavy. It's been very, very 3-wavy. This is 3-wavy. So you obviously, with the information that we do get between today and tomorrow, which is going to be crucial to really say, guys, this is likely going to be corrective because it, takes out the highs, forms another zigzag, and this would be a corrective once we get that new information. I'm going to explain that right away, guys. Bear with me here. Bear with me. I will explain it. But for the moment, you just need to give priority for the bears, because we're downtrending on the higher time frame. But we're going to give that chance for the bulls, which is that multiple 1-2 to the upside, and we're going to give it a chance. But we need a little bit of Picasso drawing and, you know, analyze here the structure. We've got over 600 people watching the stream, guys. Make sure to destroy that like button, guys, if you do enjoy the content. Okay, we're going to be breaking down this. 173 likes. Come on, legends, we can do better than that. Over 600 people watching the stream, and we are going to break down what we need to see to actually be confident that we could take out above $94,000. I got one thing for you. That is liquidity. Liquidity is sitting above $94,000. Quite a lot of it, actually. There is quite a bit of liquidity up there, right? Let's not lie. A few hundred million in short liquidations, which is making the bullish case muy interesante. It's actually making the bullish case quite interesting, right? So let's break that down. Anybody who wants to get into longs here, take it with a grain of salt, guys. Manage risk, okay? Manage risk. You know, we are looking here for this zone to get exhausted or bounce from this area. The choppiness, you get the deal. Manage risk accordingly, legends, okay? Let's go through comment section, but first of all, my goodness, let's get that like pumping. I'm going to go around the table. Let's see if when I come back, we got 250 likes. Let me do around the table, okay? And then we'll take a look at the like button, okay? Let's do it. Because. Okay. Ooh, man, we got 20 likes. 20 likes just going around the table. We got some people fucking off, which is okay. I mean, that does happen. Sorry, my language here, guys. But people prefer to leave the stream. But they'll miss out on the bullish scenario that we're going to talk about. They'll miss out. So there is that chance for the bulls. Excuse my language here, guys. But, you know, just it is what it is. You got people leaving the stream instead of, you know, not liking the stream. What's going on? Good cardio, Andy, around the table. Staffer one, much love. Axel, it's a bear market or bull extend. Oh, man, you know, this speculation that there is out there from people saying that, you know, quantitative easing is happening in 2026. And there's going to be a lot of liquidity in the economy and, you know, all of this, right? Inflation going up. That means assets are going to go up. Extended bull run. 4-year cycle is broken. Let's go level to level. I want to take advantage of some local trades, guys, if I'm honest, okay? I sold a bit of Bitcoin. I do hold, you know, I would have enjoyed selling a bit more Bitcoin. I'm going to be honest here, guys. Would have been nice to sell a bit more at 125K. This was open, guys. Open on a live stream saying that I'm selling 15%, which is, I mean, it is quite a bit. It is a good moment. We want to sell, right? Buy low, sell high, they say. Well, we said openly here on stream, you know, guys, I am selling a chunk of my spot Bitcoin. Okay, it's about time. And that was understanding the risk of the ABC flat. Okay, which, you know, obviously it went even lower, right? It went even lower. But, you know, you have that scenario that you could reject very aggressively from this zone. So yeah, I'm gonna sell some, right? So anyway, let's break down the bullish case scenario. Okay. Oh, we got a bit of a nice pump, man. Yeah, we're getting a bit of a nice pump here. I mean, interesting. Yeah, this does look pretty good to actually continue to take out the highs at this moment. Nice little bounce back up. Yeah, so I would really class this. Oh man, this makes it even more interesting. It makes it more interesting. All right, let's break down the bullish case. It's about it. Okay, do we have that chance? I think we just scratched the golden pocket. Ooh, just hit the 618, man. All those 618 traders. You got some 618 traders here getting into the longs. Golden pocket from the rally here. Aggressive double bottom. Regardless of the choppiness, or, you know, sometimes you just need to take action, right? Take action. If we understand the probabilities of bouncing in this region, regardless of getting the choppiness or not, what can we say? You know, what can we say? Okay. Much love to everybody here that's joined the stream. Sunday is always a scam. I see classic reaccumulation schematic look like it could swing. Baby Genius always joining the streams. Axel, much love. Sing Game, Staffer One. We got moderators. We did have Devil here also. It's a bear flag, mate. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's a bear flag. Yeah, probably. I mean, I have to say. It is you know, for the moment, it is a three-wave structure. Okay. For the moment, it is a three-wave structure. So yeah, it's a. Don't come with me on this channel with bull flags and bear flags. Okay. You know, bear flag. Okay, I get it. It's a bear flag. Well, what will you say if we do bounce and take out 94,000, right, and actually pump to 100K, right, mate? I don't know. You know, there is that chance. And if there is the chance, we have to give it a chance, and we need to understand where are the opportunities. And I have to say, there is the potential of forming a higher low in this region and take out $94,000 plus, regardless if it's going to be bullish or if it's just going to take out the highs, 95, 96, and then roll down again. Okay? There is that possibility, and we are technical analysts, right? And we understand you can't only be bearish. If you give me that super chat, thanks for the super chat, by the way, man. Shout out to you, okay? I'm not. But you are only bearish, right? You're only bearish, and you only seeing this as a bear flag. You know, you're not seeing the other options. I am bearish as well. We are downtrending, and this, you know, does look like a three-wave structure. And so far on this movement down, we can label a five-wave structure. So it's a little bit of hopium to believe that, you know, we could extend here and form a corrective structure. But we're going to get some information between today and tomorrow that could trigger that this is highly likely corrective. For the moment, with the information that we got, it's, you know, we don't have it. So if you don't have it, you cannot speculate on, guys, there's high probability in actually moving up to take out above 94K, because the information that we have locally from 94K is bearish. You know, for the moment, it is a bit bearish, if you ask me. But I can tell you there's a few options. There is a few options. And we're going to break them down right now, just keeping it simple, getting a little bit of the noise out, right? Three-wave to the downside. When we do see this movement down, before we continue, guys, I need to give a shout out here to Velto. Guys, if you are interested in trading, check out Velto. This is the next hyper liquid, okay? In my opinion, the volume is insane. Got 2 Bitcoin, 7 Bitcoin. It's highly liquid. And the fees are actually cheaper than most of the centralized exchanges, okay? If you are interested, guys, you just connect it to your wallet. They have many options, BNB chain, you know, Polygon chain, ERC20. You're using USDC for your trading here, and the fees are relatively low, and there's no middleman, guys. Check it out. You have the direct link to the platform down below. My go-to decentralized trading platform, guys, Velto, which the fees are quite lower than the centralized exchanges. And the good thing here, there's no middleman. You have full custody of your funds. which is absolutely awesome, guys. Check it out. Super simple to connect. You can connect it to MetaMask and multiple different wallets, Ledger. All right. And check it out, guys, if you're interested in trading here in a decentralized way. Okay. Check it out. It's the second link down below. And let's break down right away the bullish case scenario. The bullish case, because there is one, right? Obviously, if we do get this, it's going to be a bit confusing here in the next coming days. You know, there's going to be a moment to take action and jump into the trade if it is going to be bullish, because, you know, there will be, if it is going to be corrective, there is going to be a moment that, you know, it's just going to rally, right? And then you're like, oh man, I missed the long, right? I have to say, this to catch this zone, it was a little bit aggressive. A little bit aggressive, but, you know, probabilities in bouncing in this region is very, very high when we do have also pointer controls. Okay, probabilities, regardless if it is going to be bearish, which is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bounce, 3-wave structure, boom, nuke down, or the bullish option, as we were breaking down right over here, 3-wave move to the downside. For the moment, that's crystal clear. You do have a 3-wave move down, okay, that you can label a 3-wave move to the downside. Bang, bang, bang. High amount of volume here, perfect. We have a 3-wave move down. The problem is right now, eventually, is that we do have the bounce and we take out the low, which is giving us that 5-wave. That's not too good, right, on the bullish case. That's not actually too pretty. Could there be a bullish scenario? I have to say there is, but we need more information eventually. We need more information. I would say that, let me just take a look at the timing here. Let me just take a look at the timing here from this move to the upside. There's plenty of time still to continue this range. Easy, another few days. One of the possibilities, you got 3-wave up, 3-wave down, and in the next coming hours between today and tomorrow, you form this movement to the upside and take out 90,200, right? Out of speculation. This is not saying that this is going to happen. This is just, you know, if we do get this movement and then we do get a 3-wave to the downside, I mean, it's going to be interesting, guys. It is. Some people were speculating that we are going to pump into the FOMC and the interest rate decision, because that's what happened previously in the last few months, right? We did pump into the event and then we got the dump. We did pump into the event and then we got the dump, right? This is back in November, back in September, okay? You know, a lot of speculation out there saying that we're going to pump this week into the event and then dump. I mean, it doesn't really matter. You know, we are here to do intraday trading, right? Look for intraday scenarios. So, you know, that's just a bunch of speculation, right? Why we're going to pump into the FOMC and then dump? You know, I'm not even taking it into consideration, guys, if you ask me. What I'm taking into consideration is obviously the formation here, right? Do we have the chance for a corrective structure? And one of the scenarios that could develop in the next, you know, couple of days, Monday to Tuesday, something that we need to eye is forming a WXY. Regardless if it's going to be a sideways one or if it's going to be a double zigzag down, which is going to mimic the kind of bearish case. Because, you know, obviously you do have that 5-wave move down here. If you do get that rally here, you might think it's corrective. And then if you move that, if this is an impulse, if this move up is a 5-wave structure and you come down later on, man, I'm going to be excited. I'm going to be excited because I will be looking for some epic longs, guys. Not going to lie. If we move up in a 5-wave structure here, that can be, you know, it is clear to identify, okay, 5-wave move up, and then we dump It's just going to be the perfect bear trap. Going to be the perfect bear trap, because what we would have is, you know, from this low, this high, this low, we would have a flat structure. And if it is a clear, right, vroom, 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 right, pretty aggressive rally to get above $90,200, maybe even higher, and then the price rolls over pretty aggressively, man, it's you know, it's going to be pretty clear, because this will confirm that this is a three-wave move down. You can't have one bounce and an impulse and then expect the price to go to much lower levels after a five-wave structure. You need some kind of a corrective structure after a five-waver, right? You need some kind of a three-wavy move, overlappy, WXY, whatever, but not an impulsive move to the upside and then down. If that is the case, I would be really, really speculating on a double zigzag here, coming down to very good support levels from this range, which is the point of control and the daily level. And it's going to be our mission eventually to detect that five-wave move on this third wave, right? It's just the way on how the price could move. It's a way on how the price could move. I know that this movement could happen in the next coming days. I don't know if it's going to move like that. Of course I don't. Nobody knows. But it will be highly detectable if it were to suddenly rally, sweep up the liquidity above 90,200, and then we start dumping. And it's going to be like, you know, I'm really, really aggressively, you know, if we definitely hold in this region, it's going to be a bit steep coming down to the 7-8 Fibonacci maybe, right? There's the moment of panic. Holy smokes, you know, it's not looking great. And then we get that epic reversal from this zone, right? So we need a lot of information still to believe that, you know, this is corrective. Still a lot of information needed to see if this is going to be corrective, guys. Unfortunately, because for the moment, the bears are winning. The bears are winning. This ABC, if it is going to form an ABC flat, you know, does have the potential to come all the way up. Let's take a look at the 1.618 extension. I mean, yeah, has the potential to come all the way up. And this is going to be even better, guys, to, you know, identify the possibility of this being a sideways corrective structure and then rally up to take up $94,000. Because if you do rally right now, 91.3 is the 1.618 extension for this, you know, speculative ABC flat, right? So you got a zigzag down, ABC flat. If you do rally all the way up here with an impulse, you know, throughout today and tomorrow, right, in the next coming hours, it ends up being pretty bullish. You get a nice, you know, pop in volume and a decent rally of a few $1,000s. You know, probably coming into golden pocket. Yeah, if it is going to be an impulse, if we do get above golden pocket, which is $92,000, then I would be speculating on a sideways corrective structure, either a flat, you know, either a flat or either a triangle. It depends. It's probably going to take a bit of more time, but if we do get this kind of price action, rally into the golden pocket above it, and then we continue here chopping, or might form a triangle as well. It's an option, A, B, C, D, E. You know, obviously I would be looking for that pop out here to get above $94,000. You know, this would be a moment to look for longs. You need a lot of information here eventually to have a bit of confirmation. So you got either a sideways WXY, if you do rally here aggressively above $91,000 in that ABC flat for your wave X. Remember, this would be your wave W, this would be your wave X, and then your wave Y, that could be a flat or a triangle, which is, you need the information eventually to really be confident that you're going to get that bounce to the upside. So that's a little bit of what we got. You got a bit of a more larger sideways correction, or you do have the flat that slightly takes out the local highs at 90,200 and then a zigzag down. And eventually the best option here is spot that 5 wave down here on the 3rd wave into levels of support, which is point of controls. There's a daily level, which I don't know quite which one is going to be the 5th wave. And this would be a very, very good level to speculate on a full-on reversal to take out $94,000. It's a swing trade. You know, this is almost a $10,000 move on Bitcoin. So, I mean, that's the thing, right? You need to take out the highs. You need to zigzag down. You need to spot the 3rd wave down, 5 wave move into support, and, you know, really detect that 5th wave into the zone. Or just, you know, take the damn long if you don't want to be patient and just have your invalidation here at $84,000. You know, you are targeting above 94K. Yeah, you know, it all depends on your style. But I like to look at the 15-minute time frame and try and spot where we're at. So definitely a chance for the bulls. We just need a bit of more information. And yeah, if we do get that bounce from here, say that we rally, we get a correction, we rally again, and then we dump down here, then eventually, you know, it's going to be time for looking for shorts. Invalidation is going to be this lower high. We just need to obviously understand that this has been a 5 wave down, 3 wave up. It fails. The 3rd wave fails to extend to much higher levels. And if you do have a clear 3 wave structure that overlaps eventually, you know, this zone is going to be look for shorts, guys, because we're just likely going to, you know, break down in that 3rd wave. So, you know, it's going to be crucial, the information that we get between today and tomorrow. It's just, you know, it needs to be identified. It needs to be identified, right? But, you know, we are very, very close in getting that big move, right? That big move. Now, obviously, I am giving priority to the bears. I have to say, you need to give priority to the bears till you get the next information. But it's going to be the moment to decide to get into either longs or shorts. This is the moment, right? When we say, wait, we need information, we don't need that much information right now. We're getting to that moment that it's going to be, obviously, with the news event this week, there's going to be a decision moment to take, okay, in the next coming days. Because, you know, I can tell you already, this week we are likely going to get the move up to take out 94K, or we're going to get the move down to take out 80K. It's likely going to happen this week. It's going to happen this week based on, you know, the timing, the information, 3 wave. Is it an ABC or is it a 1-2-1-2? Right? This is the exact moment where, you know, obviously with experience, I know we're going to get the pop. It's either going to be up or it's going to be down. So that's not helping, is it? Up or down. Thanks for the information. You know, but there is going to be some decisions to be taken. As explained, you know, if you want to be, you know, more internally here, there is a good chance that we do hold and we get a larger relief. If you want to participate in that larger relief rally, you know, you just need to obviously manage risk. I wouldn't go in with too much, you know, but the relief rally here is highly likely. Choppiness and a larger bounce is just very, very likely. You know, if you ask me, are we going to do this or are we going to do this? You know, I'm going to go with this one over here. Bit of choppiness down here is fine, but the probabilities of nuking down from where we are right now is very, very low because of this information that we have. Double 1-2 here, you know, low probability that all of this is 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and this. You know, your second 1-2 is much larger and it has the highest amount of volume. So, you know, doing this is low probability at this moment. And the highest probability is getting that relief. So Anybody that wants to take action on some trades, as explained at the beginning of the video, yes, you can double bottom here because you have the ABC flat possibility, or you're actually going to chop here in this region in a couple of 4-5s and then get the bounce. It's all about taking action and managing risk. And if you were to get the dump down, right, the low probability scenario, you obviously need to cut down on your setup, right? You need to cut down. If we were to really move down from this point $2,000 down, right, and we just get down to the low 86, 85, and you're like, what, you need to understand that you're wrong, right? I need to understand that I was wrong about the low probability of not getting this movement, and then the movement happens. If you are positioned, you just need to cut. I'm getting out, right, before it's too late, and it nukes down for whatever reason. But the probabilities are low, as explained. So it's all about managing your trade and managing your risk. Yeah. So anyway, what do you think? Let me know right away on a poll, because I'm going to ask the community. Okay, let me ask the community here. I want to get on a poll. Are you feeling bullish for this week? How are you feeling for this week with the news? Let me know, guys. It's going to be interesting. We always like to know what is your feeling for this week, because this week we are going to get the move. We are going to get the move this week, guys. And hopefully we're going to be positioned on the right side of the market, right? Because I am interested in the big move, right? I'm not interested too much in these local internal movements, not that much. I'm interested in the move that is either going to take out $80,000 or is going to take out 94, 95k plus, right? I'm interested in being in this move or in this one, which we're going to get that the probabilities very, very soon. I would say maybe tomorrow, maybe on Tuesday. We're going to get the higher probability movement here without a doubt. But let me know on that poll, how are you feeling? Are you feeling bullish? Are you feeling bearish? Oh, let's get those votes in right away, legends. Get those votes. Staffer, much love to you, brother. I can see you here in the comment section. Sing Games, Aditya, much love, guys. Thanks for joining the stream. Short, long poll, 50-50 bullish and bearish. Also, I didn't put 50-50. I did put bullish, but I'm actually feeling bearish. I just clicked on the poll there. If you ask me, going with the general trend, but I have that little gut feeling. Sometimes you get that gut feeling. The trend is clearly down from all-time high. The probabilities are higher that this you had the biggest move down here with high volume. You got a 3-wave move up. You just with the information that I have on the higher time frame, I would have to say that there's higher probability, even though probabilities can change very quickly in the coming days, and I might be positioned in a long position to take out 94k, and we never know, it might just blast off, right? And then we have to say, holy smokes, it ended up being a third wave here. This ended up being a double 1-2. So then you got the people that say, hey, screw that, I don't want to wait for that information. I am going to long here, right? If you do want to long this uptrend that we have from the last, couple of weeks, I mean, you need to hold the golden pocket and the 7-8 Fibonacci zone, right? You don't want to go much lower than that. So anybody, if obviously, you might miss out or you might enter a little late. But if you ask me for the bullish case, this is the zone. This is like the zone if you wanted to catch the lows, either at 87, 86k zone to get back above $94,000, right? This is the zone that needs to hold for the bullish case, because if you take out this low at $84,000, there's high probability in taking out 80,500, right? You know, there's no business here that I would want to get into any long positions below $84,000. So you know, that's it, right? If you want to take this long, you just need to understand on the higher time frame, if you're more of a swing trader guy, you know, that is your invalidation. Of course, the risk to reward is not that great. It's not that great from here. It's not that great risk to reward, but you need to understand that if this has the potential of being a 1-2, and it does end up breaking up throughout next week in a wave 3, you know, and then we might be seeing Bitcoin out above $100,000 again. Then obviously, you know, this is the area. This is the area that needs to hold. I think a lot of people understand that, right? It all depends on how, you know, how you're feeling. Because I can tell you already, a lot of the people, even though my poll here, let's take a look at the poll. Get your votes in. Get your votes in here on the poll. I'm feeling hungry. I need BTC. Don't sell after a drop and don't buy after a rise. Do nothing or long. Anyway, let's take a look at the poll here. 65% are feeling bullish for this week. 65% of people are feeling bullish this week to get that movement up. It's all on the information that we have here. Locally, high probability bounce. Locally, high probability bounce based on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or based on ABC flat. High probability bounce more locally here to get above $90,200. Now, depending on that bounce and the next information that we get, this should extend. I have to say, I would not classify this as a double zigzag. I would not class this as a double zigzag, where you have the zigzag down, zigzag up, and this a zigzag down. You know, the problem is that Y wave in this double zigzag is a little bit shallow. It's a little bit shallow. For this to be a double zigzag, you know, this zigzag move down is a little bit quick. It's a little bit shallow compared to your wave W. It is not common. So I would rather class this, you know, maybe get a flat and then you'll either get another low, or this X wave extends a little bit higher and then you form a sideways WXY in the next couple of days to eventually, you know, look for that rally to take out $94,000. So we are there on the higher time frame. We just need a little bit of more information on the higher time frame, and this is looking for the prediction, guys, of the bigger move. Right? This is looking for the confidence that for the bigger move, right? That we, you know, either take out plus 94K or break down to $80,000. Right? We are there. We just need a little bit of more information. Like I mentioned, you get that bounce and you fail on the third wave and you overlap here. You know, you're eventually looking for these lows to be taken without a doubt. And obviously that brings the potential already of forming that third wave to the downside. So we are there. We're not too far away in getting the big move. I think it's likely going to happen this week. So obviously on the local time frames, it all depends on on what time frame, right? Because on the 15-minute time frame, you know, I understand that the probabilities is looking for a reversal here, right? But if you ask me for the bigger move, we just need a little bit of more information. Pay attention here on tomorrow's video update, tomorrow's live stream, guys, because, you know, I will be coming up with, guys, there is high probability in, you know, coming down to 80,000, or there's higher probability in coming to 94,000 based on the information that we have in the next coming hours, potentially between today and tomorrow, that we can identify a little bit better. You know, if you were to ask me, obviously at the beginning of the stream, as we did take out the low, you know, there's a probability in getting a larger bounce here. With the choppiness or without the choppiness, because you have the zigzag up, zigzag down, you know, you got the flat option here. It doesn't matter. Locally, you have the probability to get that larger relief bounce of a few $1,000s, right? But the bigger move, it's not clear at the moment, and it will be identifiable on the next movement. As explained, you get that rally, boom, 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 you fail to go to higher levels. Obviously, we need to spot that possibility of breaking down in the third wave. You know, this would be the moment to position into short positions. Invalidation is the high. Look for this low to be taken. Most bearish case is breaking down aggressively, and the bullish case is eventually, you know, looking for a larger, you know, WXY. So, but claiming that low is going to happen if you get this kind of price action. Then once you claim that low, if that third wave fails and overlaps, then we got the chance here eventually to look for long positions. Pay attention to levels of resistance and support. The levels of support are pretty clear. It's in between $87,000 and $86,000. We've got a few naked point of controls from this range, and we've got a daily level at 86.2. Very interesting zone of support that we do have here. And to the upside, there's a daily level, but it's very high. Nothing that we can rely on. Obviously we do have the range point of control, because we can class all of this as a big range, and the point of control is all the way up here at 91.4k. You know, this is a pretty interesting high volume node that has been proven to be resistance and support. We can get that ready here as a range point of control. Big high volume node right there that we're going to put here. So yeah, that's been a proven level of resistance and also support right over here. So without a doubt, this area is going to be an interesting one. That's probably with the golden pocket from the high to the low. So you got golden pocket slightly above. It's not exactly where the golden pocket is, but it's an interesting area for a rejection here. Point of control of the range coming into the golden pocket, which is a few $100s above that point of control. Most important levels, if anybody doesn't give a damn of Elliott wave theory, you've got the point of control of the range right there, proven level of resistance and support. And obviously you have this little range, valley area low, high volume node, right, which is on the volume profile, which is giving also those naked point of controls from this range. Resistance zones for rejection, support zones for a bounce, and obviously Elliott wave theory with the Picasso drawing from the stream, that we need more information for the bigger move, which is only a few days. I would say, you know, the move is likely going to happen this week. The move to take out either $94,000 or come down to $80,000 is going to happen this week with the next information that we get. So it's going to be time to take some decisions on the trades. If you ask me, based on the information that we have on the chart, the probabilities are for the bears at the moment. The probabilities are for the bears when you do zoom out and you look at the trend, which is it is clearly down from all-time high. There's no major signs for a bigger reversal. Only we have the speculation here of double 1-2. That's the only bullish speculation that we have, that based on that information that we get in the next 2 days. You know, who's going to be positioned? Let me know in the comment section, right? Depending on that information that is given here, and if the price does this, you know, in the next coming days, right, into the week, you know, will you be positioned? If you're feeling very bearish, which is, you know, I got a super chat saying it's a bear flag, mate. Well, yeah, I know. I understand that the trend is down and then this is bearish. But, you know, what will you probably won't be positioned in a long, right? You're probably not looking at elliott wave theory and the possibilities of this actually, you know, maybe coming up here. I understand that this is a very, very possible scenario. And we are just there, almost there. We got the first leg down, and we need to detect that in the next coming days. That's where I'm gonna go big, guys. If I see that sweet spot and I have the confirmation scenarios, I will be positioned on either to claim the lows at 80,000 or claim above $94,000. But you know, I need that little bit of more information to give me confidence. It's always it was okay to get into a long, as explained at the beginning of the stream. I mean, okay if you manage, you know, understanding that you're likely going to bounce from this range just because of a fifth wave here. Maybe it chops, maybe it doesn't. If it's not a fifth wave, it's going to be a B wave of a flat where you have a zigzag and you have a possible flat here. So, I mean, regardless of what scenario happens locally here, you know, there's a high chance here in getting this bounce of a couple of $1,000. So, but it depends on what time frame you're looking at, right? Lower time frame, high probability bounce. Higher time frame, you need to give priority to the bears just because of the downtrend and that 3-wave move up and that possible 5-wave down locally here. So, you know, you can't give priority for the bulls. You know, you can't give it at the moment. And if you're just really simple, you just say it's a bear flag and that's it, right? But then obviously when it moves up, you need to understand, why did we get this movement to the upside, right? If it does pop out and gets to, you know, 95, 96K in the next coming days, you need to understand why the heck did it do that, right? Instead of just thinking of basic analysis saying it's a bear flag and then you get the pump, you need to understand, well, why did we get the pump, right? You say that we range a little bit more, we form that sideways WXY, and then we get the pump. You know, whoever says, hey, it was a bear flag, well, what happened if we do get this rally and take out, you know, 95K plus, right? What are you going to say if that is going to be the next move? If you said it was a bear flag, well, that's when you need to go a little bit more into the, you know, a little bit into the more knowledgeable things, right, that you have with technical analysis, which is, you know, understanding that there is a chance, right, even though the chances are low, but you will get more information that can give you, okay, it's looking good for the bulls. And eventually that would be, you know, I understand how the price needs to move to be confident. You know, you get that rally. If you rally from here and you get that next move down in a zigzag, get supported, and then this moves up like this, I can tell you already, I don't care if I'm going to be late or not into the long, but I would say that this is highly likely corrective if the price moves like this in the next coming days. And you know, it doesn't really matter, but once you overlap that 3-wave move to the downside, once you start getting above this level, you know, it doesn't really matter. You know, I would be happy to FOMO long here almost to take out the highs. So you know, you don't need to catch the low, but that information obviously will be very, very valuable, because I will understand that you've moved down in a zigzag, you formed a flat, and you moved in a zigzag to the downside again, and then if you overlap that three-wave structure, and the three-wave did not break down, right, after this sideways scenario, if you move down, bounce down, if the third wave doesn't have follow through and it gets supported at those point of controls, you know, aggressive longs, I would say, aggressive longs, you know, you're really giving hopium here for this to be a double zigzag. You know, you only need this rally. You only need this rally right over here to actually give you the high probability scenario that you're likely going to take out 94k, which is still a good trade. Risk reward is not that massive, but as you get more information, you can increase position, because you might get that rally and then you correct, and then it's like, yeah, well, I'm going in with 2-3% of my capital here and adding to the position with stop loss at the low, and, you know, take out the highs. So I hope that most of you do get the point here. We'll see, right? We'll see. Elliott wave theory is not for everybody, guys. It's only for the dedicated ones. But it's obviously very, it gives you that edge on probabilities instead of saying it's a bear flag, right? Which, you know, I understand the probabilities are for the bears because the trend is obviously down on the higher time frame, right? So, but then, you know, guess what? If I do see that information and we do pop out above 94k, you know, I'm very likely going to be positioned in the long, if I'm confident, right, on it being corrective, which is obviously not the case for the moment. Anyway, legends, guys, are you long on BTC? I would, you know, I would position long and short. Yeah, hedge. You know, as mentioned, has been mentioned at the beginning of the stream, guys, if you are taking this long, you need to be cautious. You need to be cautious if you've taken this long here as you swept the local lows, and understand that, yeah, it does make sense to maintain that long position, at least to get above 90,200, I would say. But I would really, you know, in this case, if you've longed the sweep of the low, right, and you aggressively got into longs, what you need to understand is that you have, you know, there is a very countable 5-wave structure here. There's a very countable 5-wave structure, and if you have a 5-wave down, you need to understand that, you know, regardless of taking out $90,000 plus, this could be a correction, right? And you just end up losing the lows in the next coming days, right? So anybody that's long in here, just because we've got a countable 5-wave structure down, you need to be aggressive taking profits, and leave some open eventually. I always like to leave some open, but just being aware that, you know, the momentum is bearish. You've got a possible 5-waver down, and anybody that's longed here needs to consider the bearish scenario and be aggressive with taking profits here. Just understanding that, you know, you have a possible 5-wave down, then eventually throughout the next coming days, you know, it might just zigzag down, flat here. You have an expanding flat. It might expand. This flat might expand, which eventually is going to be very good for the probabilities, for a more sideways corrective structure, right? You might form another flat here, or you might form a triangle. We're going to see that in the next coming days. It's going to be interesting to see the probabilities of either coming up to 94k or actually breaking down to $80,000. So, legends, much love to everybody. Thanks for joining today's stream. It's been absolutely awesome. Just bouncing a little bit right now, not too massive, but the probabilities were to get a bounce in this region. You know, I can't give any solid setup at here, you know, right over here, but the probabilities were just very low to successfully move down in a big move, and eventually either look for a, you know, zigzag up, zigzag down. Probabilities right now are higher to actually take out 90,200. And if you ask me why, if you do ask me why, it's because we've had a 3-wave down. And this 3rd wave down, right? This 3-wave move to the downside. If you have the movement down, you get the bounce. And as you are moving here down aggressively with high volume, if you get that bounce and you overlap already this pivot, the probabilities are high that you're either going to continue the range or take out this local high, because your 3rd wave has failed to go to lower prices. And not only that, you haven't chopped here in wave 4, wave 5, right, to class this movement to the downside as an impulse. So it's ended up with high volume, 3-wave structure. You overlap, you're increasing probabilities in getting that local bounce here. After you overlap this pivot. So yeah, that's basically it, guys. Thank you very much for joining. Everybody's leaving at the moment. Thank you very much. Avalanche, oh my goodness. I'll take a look at Avalanche tomorrow, I promise, okay? I need a rush. I will take a look at Avalanche on tomorrow's stream. We will do a little bit of altcoins on tomorrow's stream, guys. Thank you very much for joining. Remember that you do have some great bonuses down below, okay, in the description. Check out Bluffin. They got some great deals at the moment right now, guys, as you can see. Great deals on Bluffin. Check out Velto, which has very low fees, guys. Decentralized platform. And you just connect your wallet, no middleman, guys, and they do have very low fees, which is absolutely awesome, guys. Super easy to connect to either MetaMask, Ledger, multiple wallets, and there's no middleman, guys, and they actually have a lot of liquidity and it's very low on fees. Check out Velto, guys. You have the 2nd link down below in the description. Thank you, legends. I will see you tomorrow, getting a nice little bounce, which is highly predictable on the lower time frame. More information will be interesting as explained today, guys. Thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow.